First, I'd like to defend my use of Al Jazeera as a news source because, you know, they're on ground news, and I use ground news to weed out lies because it gives you a rating of stories that are high factuality, mixed factuality, and low factuality. And I like to go with high factuality. So I pick this. Venezuela's Maduro says that no way U.S. can invade as Trump deploys naval force. Now, wasn't he the first one to legitimize Maduro's presidency? See, because I seem to remember that. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says he's ready to defend sovereignty as U.S. military deploys warships near a country's territorial waters. This was from the 29th. Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro says there's no way United States troops could invade his country as tensions rise with Washington and a U.S. naval force builds up in the southern Caribbean near Venezuela's territorial waters. There's no way they can enter Venezuela, Maduro said on Thursday, stating that his country was well prepared to defend its sovereignty as U.S. warships arrive in the region in his so-called operation against Latin American drug cartels. Today we're stronger than yesterday. Today we're more prepared to defend peace, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, Maduro said in a speech to troops, according to the state-run Venezuela news agency. Maduro made his comment as Venezuela's ambassador to the United Nations, Samuel Moncada, met with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to protest the U.S. military buildup. It's a massive propaganda operation to justify what the experts are calling kinetic action, meaning military intervention in a country which is sovereign and independent country and is no threat to anyone, Moncada told reporters after meeting with Guterres. They're saying that they're sending a nuclear submarine. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that they're fighting drug trafficking with nuclear submarines, the ambassador said. It is kind of ridiculous, isn't it? Earlier on Thursday, Admiral Darrell Claude, the U.S. Navy's chief of naval operations, confirmed that U.S. warships were deployed to waters off South America, citing concerns that some Venezuelans were participating in large-scale drug operations. Really? 7 U.S. warships? Okay, first of all, I just have to interject this. U.S. military cannot be used as law enforcement. Just one more time. You can't use our military for law enforcement actions. That's the problem you're running into in our cities, dictator. Dictator Donnie, dear daddy, Donnie Duty Dumpy Pants. Fuck. Just ridiculous. We've got Russians flying too close to Alaskan airspace, like what, 4 times this week? Got Russia is bombing U.S. companies in Ukraine, not just killing Ukrainians outright, wholesale slaughter, we get that, but also bombing American companies. You'd think they'd be interested in American companies. Oh, yeah, and the IDF is just killing journalists, some of which are American. Look at 100 Americans have died in this war, this self-defense operation, the mass slaughter, genocide, and starvation of the Gazan people. So we don't have other problems. He's got to send our warships now to Venezuela to try to do a regime change? I thought you liked Maduro. He's got to defend. I mean, he's got to run to the rescue of dictators around the world. So Venezuela has responded to the U.S. threats by sending warships and drones to patrol its coastline and launching a drive to recruit thousands of militia members to bolster domestic defenses. Caracas has also deployed 15,000 troops to its borders with Colombia to crack down on drug trafficking and other criminal gangs. On Thursday, Maduro thanked Colombia for sending an additional 25,000 military personnel to the Colombia-Venezuela frontier to tackle narco-terrorist gangs. While the U.S. has made no public threats to invade Venezuela, Trump's threats against the country have focused chiefly on its powerful criminal gangs, particularly the cocaine trafficking Cartel de los Soles, which he thinks is going to give him a pass to crawl an emergency. I'm so sick of him and his fake fucking emergencies. It's like he's got Munchausen by proxy. Instead of a kid running to the emergency room all the time, he's got our military and the United States citizens being put at risk. So he can try to be a hero. He's not a hero. He's an anti-hero. Maduro has in turn accused Washington, which is offering a $50 million reward for his capture over alleged drug offenses, of seeking to implement regime change in Venezuela. You got it. That's what we're up to. I mean, we usually do it behind the scenes using the CIA, the NSA, and private military operations like BlackRock. But I guess, or like the GHF that's helping IDF hand out food, which they're absolutely not doing, judging by what the Palestinian people look like right now. I think that we have enough problems around the world elsewhere for this shit. There's more. So first of all, his emergency for the Tren de Aragua gang members turned out to be a big fucking nothing burger, and he illegally trafficked 200 U.S. residents to the torture prison CICOT, the concentration camp in Venezuela. Venezuela got most of those people out in a prisoner swap. So it's, like 90% of those people weren't gang members. So he's using these fake powers of the presidency for emergencies. He's making up emergencies. Like a fucking, when you think you're sick all the time, like a fucking hypochondriac. So Christopher Sabatini, a research fellow at the Chatham House in London, said that the deployment, the Tren de Aragua's designation, and the recent doubling of a bounty for Maduro are parts of the White House's strategy of making as much noise as possible to satisfy Venezuela's opposition, many of whom are Trump supporters, and to scare maneuver high-level government officials into defecting. But, he added, there's no realism here in terms of the likelihood of an actual invasion. So this is the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, whose surrogate Edmundo Gonzalez is recognized by the U.S. and several other governments as a legitimate winner of the 2024 election, appeared on Fox News following the announcement and thanked Trump administration officials for taking the right approach with courage and clarity towards the criminal enterprise that has taken over Venezuela. The time has come for change, Machado said. She also posted on X that Venezuelans had disobeyed the government by not showing up to last week's militia recruitment effort. The empty squares of Venezuela today herald the future that is approaching. But that promise is not new for Venezuelans. Sabatini of Chatham House criticized opposition leaders for cynically manipulating people's hopes again and falling into this trap that an invasion is imminent. They've just sort of been parked in neutral, Sabatini said, referring to the faction's inability to energize its base since the presidential election. This is a new opportunity they're just trying to seize on. Regime change. Trump wants to back Machado. So, shine the light, share the videos, talk about this. We have things like I mentioned, Russia is flying dangerously close, illegally close to Alaska 4 times this week, okay? We have Americans dying in Ukraine, Americans dying in Gaza. But he wants to go and effect a regime change and get Americans, his base here, excited about, he's just stopping the flow of fentanyl. Supply and demand. As long as there are people in this country who want fentanyl, it will be coming here. You can't cure that without curing drug addiction at its source with treatment. Fund treatment. Fund detoxes. Fund Suboxone programs. You don't waste military taxpayer money to go threaten other nations. God, Trump's got a tiny little dick. So obvious and more obvious every single fucking day.